Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So, The Crow has bombed. We're going to take a look at the box office for this film. Normally, what I do with these box office reviews is take a look at a few films and then talk about them all. But The Crow is kind of special. And, well, the original is anyway. But I think this film kind of deserves its own video just because it is such a spectacular bomb. But also, interestingly, one of those films that seemingly some people like it. Those that have seen it. It's kind of a bit like Morbius, I guess. A film that no one watched. But those that did, some people anyway, did actually enjoy it a little bit randomly for what it was. Genuinely, there are some people out there that like Morbius. I know, crazy. So I thought we would do first is actually take a look at the old trailer that released, 5 months ago now. And you could kind of see this coming a mile off, to be fair. This was always going to go this way. Okay. This trailer had 7.6 million views. And it had a 50-50, well, 100% like to dislike ratio, exactly the same. 120,000 upvotes, 120,000 dislikes. Now, I'm going to be cynical here and say Lionsgate may have paid for some positive likes on this video, genuinely. Because that's very unusual. That's very unusual. Very, very, very unusual. For that to happen, especially when you look at the comments coming through. Yeah. Interesting. Genuinely interesting. But then we take a look at The Crow over on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that Rotten Tomatoes is the be-all and end-all. And we'll get to the numbers in a minute. They're not great, obviously. But the numbers. Critics hated it, right? But the audience that did go and watch it, albeit there's not many of them, 250 plus verified ratings. And we know there's not many people that watch this movie because we've got the box office numbers. But the people that did, it is mixed to positive. When it's 66%, it's definitely mixed. You know, there are definitely people that hate it, but it's mixed to positive. So the people that watched it were primed to, at the very least, be a little bit more lenient with it and enjoy it somewhat. Now, I did a review of this movie, which I'll leave linked above. Go check that out. It's quite a long review, actually. There's my thoughts on the movie, I guess. It's meh. Bill Skarsgård's great, but there's some weird character decisions in this. Really, really weird character choices. I'm not going to get into reviewing it. I've done the review. You can go check out all my thoughts. And if you didn't get notified of it yesterday, please do turn those bell notifications on. But anyway, let's take a look at the box office, right? Because this is interesting. And it goes to show that actually Lionsgate weren't being dumb in releasing this. Genuinely, they weren't. Because this could have at least made some money for them. A few million, actually. So it says this. As far as The Crow, this is on Deadline, by the way, it's clear that no one wanted to see a reboot of the 30-year-old cult movie without Brandon Lee, who died on the set of the first film tragically after being wounded with a prop gun. Actually, aside from the Alec Baldwin situation, that's the last time someone died. So those gun accidents that result in fatalities is, yeah, really, really rare. That's why the Alec Baldwin situation was such a huge issue. Now it says here, right, Lionsgate kept its gamble on this low with a 10 million North American rights pickup and P&A around $15 million. So they spent $25 million on this. $25 million. For Lionsgate, $25 million, that's not bad. That's not bad. For a property such as The Crow, $25 million is not a horrendous way to sort of gamble on some form of profit. That's not bad at all. Now, that doesn't mean that that's not the budget, by the way. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But it is interesting to see why Lionsgate did this. It says this, at those numbers, The Crow was well worth the roll of the dice for the Santa Monica, California-based studio. They won't bleed as much as the to $30 million loss expected for Borderlands, even though the opening here is less than the $8.6 million start of that Eli Roth directed video game feature adaptation. The upset is that the mini major has 2 summer misfires in a row. The black eye here is that this Rupert Sanders directed Bill Skarsgård starring movie came from a storied piece of IP and its rebirth didn't work. No, true. So what did it actually do? What did it actually do? I'll just sort of scroll through here. Where is it? Here you go, right? The disastrous $50 million reboot of The Crow via Lionsgate did $5 million. It's a lot of money they lost. Now, I don't know whether that's $50 million budget, because we've been privy now to a breakdown of what Lionsgate paid to pick the movie up, right? $10 million rights, $15 million P&A. Is it another $25 million to get the movie made by all those random producers that were listed off at the start of this film? I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Because it seems Lionsgate just distributed the film. Doesn't look like they made it properly. Not from what I can tell. It's not really listing it off properly here. But if this film costs $50 million, then $25 million for Lionsgate as well. I mean, $75 million down the drain. Jesus. This is one of those movies that just absolutely unequivocally should not have been made. There's no way in hell this film should have been made at all. It was very, very stupid to make this film. But, again, $25 million for Lionsgate, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's worth a punt. If you're a studio and you've got that much money, it's definitely worth a punt. So let's take a look and see what this says here, right? It says, while The Crow received a B- cinema score, which definitely aligns with what we see here. It's at 1.5 with post-track audiences. Those who showed up to watch the movie said they just wanted to sit in the dark and eat popcorn. Just joking. 31% went because of Skarsgård, while 26% said it was because of the franchise, male leaning at 58%, with the biggest quadrant being 25 to 34-year-olds at 32%, and the 18 to 34 demo repping 58% of all ticket buyers. 39% white people, 31% Latino and Hispanic, 17% black, 6% Asian, 8% Native American, and other. Whatever cash there is to collect on The Crow, it can be found in the West, South, Central, and East, with Adam Aaron's AMC Burbank the best place of play for the pick, with close to $8 grand this weekend. I mean, that's terrible. So basically, it opens with $5 million, with $75 million being spent on it, from what we know. Jesus. Still not one of the biggest bombs. But I do wonder, again, 50 million, maybe it's $25 million to make it. I don't know. If it's just 50 million, if we're just working off that, I mean, it's still a pretty huge loss. But again, if it's 50 million, 25 to make it, 25 to buy it and, market it, which is a lot. 15 million, they barely did any marketing. Jesus. But it's still worth a punt for that. You only need to make 100 million to break even. Start going into profit. I mean, The Crow, you'd expect some people would probably go out just for the name alone. But huge bomb. Monumental bomb. Hence why it deserved its own video, quite frankly. This is one of those movies that people would do, like a lecture on why not to remake beloved franchises, I guess. Anyway, love to hear your thoughts, so drop it down below. May do some videos on some other box office this weekend if there's anything which is particularly interesting, so stay tuned for that. Cheers, take care, bye-bye now.